Another panic moment in teaching can be if you ask a child to move and they just say no.
Mm.
What would you recommend a teacher does?
Or any situation where a child says no.
Mm.
I mean, I was talking to a girl in a year 11 class back in Australia. I was working with a group doing some micro teaching. She dragged her chair away quickly. I thought it might have been something I'd said, but she turned around and started talking loudly to another table. And I called her back to join the group. I said, Harmony, come on, just to call her back. And she said, I'm on the phone. And I didn't see her white iPhone because it was tucked up behind her hair. She had kind of very bleach blonde hair. And then she continued to talk on the phone, and I simply said, Harmony, come on, we've got a school rule for mobile phones. A brief statement. We've got a school rule for mobile phones. And she said, it's a job placement call. So she was quite bolshy in the way that she was responding to me. So I left her alone for a little while, carried on talking to the group I was micro-teaching with, and several of them raised their eyes as if to say, don't worry, Bill, we've got to put up with Harmony. First name school, by the way, non-uniform first name school. Year 11 class. And after about 2 minutes, she turned around her chair and looked at me and she said, yes, as if to say, okay, I'll talk to you now. And in those transactions we have frequently with more challenging kids, the challenge is to address the behaviour that's primary in the exchange rather than secondary, like the sighing, the eyes to the ceiling, the pouting, the 70-30 eye contact. And I repeated what I'd said before, Harmony, we've got a school rule, not me, but we've got a school rule for mobile phones. And I was about to say, off and in your bag, and give her a directed choice, in your bag, or if you like, leave it on your teacher's table till break time. I was about to give her a directed choice, because I'd never take it off her. She's 17 for crying out loud. I was about to give her the directed choice, and she said, Lindsay doesn't care, pointing to the teacher I was mentoring, a young, newly qualified teacher. She said, Lindsay doesn't care. And I frequently get this, that other teachers allow them to chew gum, wear hats, dance on the tables, or whatever the other teachers allow them to do. And she said, Lindsay doesn't care. And I said, I'll check that with Lindsay. The school rule's clear. Not I don't care what Lindsay does. I'll check that with Lindsay. The school rule's clear. Often in your bag, or if you like, leave it on Lindsay's table till break time. And at that point, I turned aside to give her some take-up time. I took my eyes off her and carried on talking to the group. And then she said loudly, she said, oh, put it away then, if it makes you happy. And when she said all of that stuff, just a couple of metres away from me, that's what we tactically ignore. And she huffed and puffed as she put the phone away and dragged a chair back and started to sit down like that. And all that flouncy behaviour, which is quite common in some adolescents who are more insecure in social settings, that kind of behaviour we tactically ignore. And if you watch a respectfully confident teacher, they learn to discriminate in the immediate emotional moment when there's conflict between what is primary in the exchange and what is secondary in the exchange. And it's often things like the way eyes are used, and the sighing, the rolling of the eyes, and the non-directional eye contact and so on. If after giving her take-up time she still refuses to put it away, and I've had lots of kids refuse to put mobile phones, toys, objet d'art away, that they're mucking around with, we need to make the consequence clear. So if after take-up time she's still faffing around with the phone or the iPod or whatever she's playing with, nail varnish, or whatever, we say, I go back and make the consequence clear. If you choose not to put it away, if you choose not to put the phone away now, in your bag, often in your bag, I will have to follow this up in your own time at the end of the lesson. Now some kids at that point say, okay, I'll put it away then, gee, big deal. And again, you leave them to sulk their way through the putting the phone away. But if they don't put it away, and some kids won't, I'll say, no, put it away. I'm not moving, or whatever the direction is. I'll say, well, I'll have to follow this up in your own time. And as I walk away, I get kids saying, don't care. Instead of saying, you bloody well will care, instead of fighting that, we leave them with the consequences of their choice. I wouldn't do this with 5-year-olds, but upper primary and secondary. We leave them with the consequences of that deferred consequence, unless it's a safety issue. then the consequence will be immediate and may occasion some kind of timeout. But the most common consequences we use are deferred, but they're given within the framework of a directed choice. Now, most kids will come on board, sulkily, but they'll come on board.